I believe in the power of kindness. I believe in the power of love, power of love. I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. I believe in the power of love, power of love. Well, if it's time for you to share some gratitude, gratitude, that's the time we get together here. Do 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 do. And if you are having a good attitude, gather round and lend me your ear. Lend me your ear. It's time for Love Morning, feeling super fine. And it's a love morning. We practice being kind. And it's a love morning. And I'm here to say that we are here at 9 a.m. just every single day. Do 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 do. Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. Getting a message saying the frame rate is too slow. I don't know what that means. I think it means that I look choppy to you. Choppy. Choppy. Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. I am saying hello to you. TGIF. Hello, Gerbot. Welcome. If you are here live, it's always so nice to say hello. Say good morning. Let us know that you're here. Maybe even share something that you are grateful for. Good morning, Faith. Hello to you. I am grateful that this too shall pass. I'm grateful for the knowledge and the faith that the pain that I'm having in my back and shoulder will be temporary. And I am grateful that I have the tools to not get too spun out on letting the physical discomfort affect my thoughts too much. It is definitely a challenge. I think we're all familiar with the struggles that can go on in your thoughts when you're in pain. As you know, is this going to get better? How can I do X, Y, Z in this kind of pain? What should I have done to avoid this pain? What should I do now? And just having additional suffering in addition to the pain. I do not have an inversion table. That's a good suggestion. It's a very specific thing that happens to me occasionally. I'm wondering if it has to do... I used to think that it had to do with mouse work, because it's kind of goes back to, I think, usually the right side. But it started hurting after my weekend sailing, where I did no computer work. So I'm wondering if it has to do with something unrelated to mousing, and maybe it just has to do, or maybe the mousing is connected, but there's other things to it. Anyway, I'm grateful that, I don't have a manual labor job, so I don't have to dig ditches today, even when I'm in pain, or I don't have to lose income because of the pain. And I'm grateful for Advil, which seems to not make it go away, but reduce the pain. So, and I doubled up. So I took 4 Advil this morning. Oof, I know, bad idea. Hopefully not indefinitely. I did reach out to my acupuncturist, and the soonest appointment I could get is Monday. So I'm hoping to see them on Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to practice discipline with my thoughts. I am grateful for a wonderful outing yesterday with a friend. We went to see You Hurt My Feelings, new Julia Dreyfus film, and very much enjoyed it. It's a very realistic movie. It's not shot or filmed or edited like a comedy, where there's jokes and punches. It feels like you are just witnessing life, and this kind of insights into humanity and humans and struggles. It definitely gave me a lot a lot to think about in terms of the difference between supporting someone and being dishonest. You know, if someone asks me, if someone shows me their art, I, without looking, am going to tell them, good job, keep going. Unless someone is asking for my business advice, like, in your opinion, do you think this has a market value? I am not going to let my personal tastes be discouraging. That's how I've done things in the past. And that was one of the topics in this film is it dishonest to withhold criticism in the spirit of support and encouragement? And it relates to, friends. It also in terms of, like, in parenting, is it a disservice to a child to just tell them good job, good job, good job all the time and make them think that they are great at everything? Interesting topic, and certainly something that I am working through in my personal relationship with radical honesty and radical support. And Burning Man is all about, there is no tastemaker, there is no judge who says this is good art, this is bad art. And I've always, I've loved that idea that if you feel inspired to create, then it's good. It should be created. You should keep going. That it does not require the liking or valuing from anyone else to make art valuable. Monetary value doesn't mean, other people's opinions don't mean. It is authentic creation has worth. And at the same time, if you are, if someone you trust is trying to get feedback and is looking to you as an editor, trying to get eyes on it and go, can you give me an opinion? Like, am I off track? Does this make sense? And you say, yeah, it's great, but you don't understand, then that can be problematic. I know there are times when I have asked for feedback, partially because I'm too close to it, or maybe even I don't want to spend the time to fully edit, and so I ask other people, and I have to remember that there's a lot of people that are just like me that are going to say good job no matter what. Now, is that a problem though? I guess it depends on what the end goal is. And maybe that goes back to another thing that I struggle with, which is that I have not traditionally been the best at editing, refining to get to a product that is a masterpiece. I create and move on, create and move on, create and move on. I create content and move on. I was just even thinking today, like, I was looking at all the archives of these mornings that are on YouTube, and I'm like, I could really do a lot to make these videos more accessible. I could even, like, they all have the same thumbnail. So today I was starting to change the thumbnail to at least show a different outfit. So at least each video is different. And I'm like, oh, and I could also go back and maybe even put some topics. Like, what did we talk about today? But it's like, putting energy into things that are in the past is like a chore for me. Whereas some people, like, there's such a joy in making something better. Or maybe it's even not even a joy. It's the pain of it not being as good as it could be that motivates people to just keep churning and keep editing and keep working on something. But in that regard, like, I was just thinking, maybe I'll ask for help. Like, if you're listening ever here, and we have a topic that is good, or there's some conversation that's good, if you want to just jot down, like, we talked about honesty versus support. We talked about the movie You Hurt My Feelings, and we talked about kindness. Like, if you ever are listening and you want to write those things down and then send it to me, I will add that to the description for people that might want to listen later. That would be super helpful. Of course, yeah, just a thought. Might as well ask for what you want. So that would be awesome. If anybody wants to even sign up for it, say like, hey, even if you're doing it and you say, hey, yeah, I'm taking notes today. That would be awesome. And then I will sing a song about you. Perhaps, not a promise. If you're here live, let us know something that you are grateful for, or a topic in your mind that you are pondering and want to add to the mix of what we discussed today before we have a hug and go on to our days. I am also pondering the idea of kindness. I just listened to a beautiful podcast by Malcolm Gladwell. I watched it on YouTube, and the topic was, I was a stranger and you fed me, I think is what it's called. And he tells a story about refugees, and also there's a story in it about a Holocaust escaped prisoner. And he goes and talks about the significance of kindness. But there's a part of it that was a new concept for me. He was talking about this range of good deeds. And on the far end is sacrifice. That is intense sacrifice, when you give up something that matters to you to help someone else. And then there's generosity in the middle. And then the very simplest, easiest thing you can do is just kindness. It's like, I don't want to put myself out, but I still want to be nice to you. And that's really what we're generally talking about here in Love Mornings, is kindness. Not saying sacrifice, not saying, give up an organ for someone else, not saying cash your paycheck and give it away, not saying, skip what your needs are, or what even your desires, or even give up your piece of cake for someone else. Just saying thank you to the person that bought you cake. Having human expressions and connection, the kindness on the very simplest of levels that does not change our life, does not reduce what we have. It doesn't take away from us at all. That very simple shift into looking for opportunities to be kind. Now, as you do that and you realize how good it feels and the impact it has on you, I think we start to stretch into more generosity. And you realize, you know what? I do feel good when I purchase the coffee for someone else in front of me or behind me. And then maybe even to sacrifice and say, I'm going to take off a few days' work. I'm going to drive to the Polish border, and I'm going to risk whatever could go wrong in this adventure because I want to sacrifice to help out a refugee. But I think you need to embrace the simplest act of kindness to get yourself heading in the direction of love and compassion. And when we're in that direction, then we can get concerned about the distance later, how far we go, how big the acts are. And as long as we're going in the direction of kindness, then we can feel at peace that this is a life well lived. That is the love ambassador way. You don't sign up to be a love ambassador and say, okay, now I need to give away my worldly possessions and stop doing things that bring me pleasure and abandon my hedonistic ways to be a martyr. No. A love ambassador gets to just enjoy life and look for opportunities to be kind while you do it. And then I think we realize that in a selfish way, the kind things to others make ourselves feel good. And then even the generosity that we share, that the net of our good feeling, the way it makes us feel, is greater than what we lose through our generosity. And the sacrifice even can be a net positive because of the sense of peace and contentment that we can get from that deep awareness that we are doing good, that we are good. So, yeah, thinking a lot about kindness today. Thinking about how this daily practice of aligning ourselves towards connection and kindness is revolutionary. It is massive. It is activism. Activism does not mean you have to set fire to things or dismantle some massive structure. It can be activism in shifting in the direction of kindness, allowing the ripples, allowing the affirmation of how good that feels, and then letting that inform deeper and deeper acts of kindness, generosity, and maybe even sacrifice. Thank you. I love you. Well, if you've got some gratitude, would love to share that. That's another part of these mornings is kindness and gratitude and connection and authenticity. And I am grateful for, it looks like, more overcast here in San Diego. Love the overcast. I'm also grateful that a number of my plants have new big leaves that are unfurling. Love an unfurling leaf. I am grateful that I've got a scheduled meditation retreat in the future with my brother. I'm very excited to be sharing that with him next month. I'm grateful for these options that I have. I have the option to go to Element 11, the Utah Regional Burning Man event. And I'm realizing that I may have bit off more than I can chew. I was thinking I was going to drive the Hugmobile, my 83 motorhome, but it's like over a 12-hour drive. And the Hugmobile gets about 5 to 6 miles per gallon. So that means driving to this event is about $1,000 in gasoline. I hadn't factored that into things, and I didn't realize it was so far. I knew it was in Utah, but Utah, it's twice as far as I thought it was going to be. If it was on this corner of Utah, that's 7 hours drive, 6. The other corner of Utah is 12 over 12. So I'm like, oh crap. And then with this injury that I'm feeling, and it's starting to feel like I don't know how realistic it is for me to get to Utah next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. We'll see, but I'm grateful to have options. It's definitely something to celebrate. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Captain Moonbeam. I'm glad that you're here live. What a treat to get to have a little communal connection. Speaking of communal connection and kindness, highly recommend checking out the Stay Sparked podcast. I have no financial benefit. I'm not like promoting this. I just think that I think we do a good job. Me, Yanis, and Betsy. The 2 latest topics are relevant to today. 2 weeks ago, it was the power of kindness, and I kind of wish that I'd listened to this podcast from Malcolm Gladwell before that, but they go well together. Still, a lot of good stuff about the power of kindness. And then the one this week, the new episode, is about men's and women's groups, and in a sense, also just groups, and the benefit of sharing from an authentic place our lives with one another, and how that can be this really rich way to expand our human experience beyond the activities that we experience, because we only can experience one fraction of human experience at a time. That's the curse and the gift of being a human being. But if you share in a group or a gratitude circle, and you get to experience life lived through other people, other perspectives, and you magnify, you exponentially grow the wisdom and the lessons and the joy and the appreciation of life through others' perspectives and experiences, when it is done from an authentic place. That's really key. So often we are sharing, we are socializing from places that are not really authentic, real experiences. When we're talking about sporting events, we're talking about regurgitating our opinions about politics, when we're, nothing inherently wrong with those kind of human interactions, but it's not the same thing as an intentional digging and revealing a truth, an experience, a struggle, a victory that happens in groups with that container and that safety and that intention. So I'm a member of 3 men's groups. I've been a member of many in the past. I'm a member of gratitude circles as well that meet daily. And I get so much from that sharing. I've been thinking about how, I don't watch the news as defined by corporate media. The corporate media news is what's going wrong, what will frighten you, what is terrifying and fear creating in the world. What's going wrong? That's what we define news as. But another way to look at news is what's happening in humanity on a micro personal level. And a group, a gratitude circle, allows you to witness the news, the good news. What's the good news? This person got a job. This person is struggling with their relationship with their parents. This person is feeling healthy after they made a good choice. This person is enjoying the weather. I mean, this is also the news. This is reality. And with our finite amount of attention, choosing to pay attention to the news of fellow humans that are part of our environment, our world, our legitimate world that we touch and we interact with, that is a meaningful way to stay informed about what's going on. I'm not saying you should put your head in the sand. I'm saying do not exclude what's happening in the world as defined by fellow human beings as you focus on the woes of the world and the suffering of the world. Our current technological advantages give us a window into everything in the world. We can witness the suffering of all beings at the same time, and our minds cannot handle that. So the antidote is to focus on the lives, the wisdom, the experiences, the gratitude from individual humans that we are connected to. That is how we stay sane in a world that is driving us insane with an onslaught of suffering and injustice. So, thanks for being a part of this group. What are you grateful for? Please share, let us know. Zoe is grateful to catch this broadcast. Alice is here too. Good morning. I've been enjoying these kind of like energetic rants, or actually sermons, right? That's what I think, Gerbot, you told me that yesterday. This morning's sermon. Thank you. Zoe is grateful to be healed up from surgery and regaining mobility better than before. Yes! Awesome, Zoe. Alice is grateful for life and the people in my life who love me. Beautiful! Do you want to name any one of them specifically? You don't have to. I find that one of the ways to make gratitude even more resonant with us is to be specific. Just a suggestion, not telling you what to do, but like if you're feeling grateful for your family, and then say, I'm grateful for my mom and the way she giggles and is always so helpful. I'm grateful for my dad and his wisdom and the sparkle in his eye. I'm grateful for my brother and the way he is always trying to be his best for himself and for the world and for his kids. I'm grateful for Jen, for her calm and creativity and her support. I'm grateful that I'm owning this decision to have some coffee today. I started this day thinking, my back hurts. I don't have anything I have to do today, so maybe I'll have a tired day. But then it hurts to lie down. It hurts to do anything. So I'm like, I don't want to just sit in bed and just be in pain. So maybe I will have a little coffee and charge this day and see what happens. Gerbot saying, changing the words you use changes how you see the world, changes how you feel. Glad to share. Very true. That is, you're right on there, man. And there's even like evidence that you cannot conceive of things unless you have a vocabulary for it. Have you seen, there's the studies of like these tribes that didn't perceive differences in colors because they did not have colors for, they didn't have a word for the color blue or green, and then they had these changes, they just identified them all as blue. And think about that in terms of, like today, earlier I was talking about the difference between kindness, generosity, and sacrifice. Knowing the difference in those words, that's super helpful in perceiving and decision making and evaluating. Good morning, Wendy. Wendy is grateful that I will be spending Father's Day with my parents, my sisters, and my families in East Tennessee. Right on. Good morning, Brent. Alice says, my community of friends and friends who are accepting of how I feel dealing with my loss and trying to build a relationship with my daughter's partner and her two youngest children. The people in my life are, let yourself feel what you feel. Thank you for sharing. This place is such a positive and safe place. That makes me so happy to hear. I'm such a believer in the importance of place, that you feel safe, a container that you feel like you belong, and the healing that is facilitated by that. That's kind of the big part of the podcast that I just mentioned, the new Stay Sparked, is about men's and women's groups or any sort of container that you feel safe in allows you to heal. Ladybug, often says, like, do you need therapy or do you need community? Because in community, that safety allows you to allow yourself to be. And sometimes, often, a huge part of healing is simply that shift from trying to do what you're supposed to do to allowing yourself to be who you are. Even if it's hurting or grieving or feeling lost. Gerbot is grateful for these morning sermons. Maybe I will start even putting in the description, love morning, gratitude, and positivity sermon or something like that. Gerbot says, I struggled for a long time growing up because I was undiagnosed for ADHD. It's so difficult lacking the words to understand the experience I was having. The diagnosis alone really helped to understand what I was going through. Isn't that the case? How many times have you seen someone, or even yourself, like you get a diagnosis, and even when the diagnosis sucks, there's this incredible relief in just, I know how to talk about this now. I know what I'm dealing with now. Yeah, there's power in clear communication and understanding the words. I was talking yesterday with a friend about certain individuals that have a mastery of words that is like superhuman. People like Jason Silva, Russell Brand, and the guy who does Sam Harris. Like, those three were in our conversation about these guys have their command of language and communication is so powerful and lyrical and clear. It's a superpower. And it's helpful it's helpful for others to listen to the level of articulation that they have. I consider myself to be gifted in articulation. One of the reasons I do this is for that. This is my practice. But even from this place, I recognize and honor the true masters, such as Russell Brand and the others. Or like, who's another one? I was just thinking of Terence McKenna, Alan Watts, these people who they're just, their communication is at a level of, it's so specific and intentional. It's like a healing, it's like Matrix-like, Kung Fu. Okay, listen to Alan Watts. You now understand Buddhism. Like, oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. It does make sense now. All right, well, let's do a hug and then get off into our days. Well, get off. That might be a little bit forward of me to suggest you get off, but we will enter into our days. Is that forward as well? My mind is in the gutter. So wherever you are, give yourself a big hug and know that you're hugging one another, all the people who are here, all the people who have ever been in this space of connection and kindness. Appreciating the opportunity to face this day as our best selves, allowing ourselves to be, not trying to be something, but just allowing ourselves to be who we are, sharing that with the world, recognizing we're all doing the best we got. So let's squeeze and feel ourselves being squeezed by one another as we take a deep breath in. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of you beautiful ambassadors of love, thank you for being here for this love morning and this gratitude sermon and this Hug Nation meetup. I love you. Enjoy Empire. Awesome, Gerbot. Let us know how the weather is. Thanks, Gerbot. You too.